My crazy mom. My crazy mom. She's dead. My crazy mom. My crazy mom. She's dead.
My crazy mom. So my mom, in some ways you could look back and say she was careful and conservative and smart with her money and good at prioritizing. Well, maybe not that. I remember when I was a little kid, my parents were recently divorced, so I was, 7-ish. They divorced when I was 6.5-ish. This was a year or two later, so 7, 8 years old. Times were tight, or at least, we were under the impression they were. My mom had taken in boarders in the house to, just cover the bills. And, that's a very conservative thing to do. Now, what we didn't know at the time, what we found out a few years later, is that at the same time, she was aggressively paying down the mortgage, so it was paid off so early, and she never put another mortgage on the house. That's really commendable. That gives you so much safety and security. It's really hard to argue with. And at the same time, she didn't want us to know this. She was also squirreling money away in Canada. And she was doing that so that my dad would not be able to know it existed, and she could always go after him for more child support. She was really crazy about that. But, I think I have a mean streak a mile wide. Hers was transcontinental. It was beyond belief. Now, all that sounds good. Extra money from people renting rooms who were going into our rooms and stealing our shit. Paying down the mortgage, saving money, getting free lunch even though we shouldn't have qualified, going to the food bank even though we didn't need to, leaving the house below 50 degrees in the winter. All that seems like just good financial planning. But I remember something very clearly. I was at the Wigwam with my parents in Linwood. It later turned into something else, and last I saw it was a Detroit Auto Works car dealership before they immediately went broke due to mismanagement because they're terrible people and terrible businessmen. We were in the Wigwam, and we were standing in line, and out of the blue I'm talking to this stranger, which is apparently what 8-year-olds did 30 years ago. And there was a big show on TV at the time called Lottery. And it was about these guys whose job it was to go and track down lottery winners who didn't know they'd won. Like that's a real thing. And I turn to this guy and I say, "What would you buy if you won the lottery?" And he said, I never thought about it. I don't know. And then he answers it. I don't remember what his answer was. He says, "What would you buy?" And I said, "You know what I'd buy? I'd buy some new socks." My parents, grabbed me and at that point decided it was not okay to talk to strangers. So they heard, and my mom said, she asked me, we get in the car and she says, "Why would you buy, if you won the lottery, you'd buy socks? Why would you buy socks?" Let's face it, that's a Christmas present we got every year and one we never looked forward to. And I said, "Because I don't own one pair of socks without a hole in at least one sock." Wow. Now, mind you, Mom and Steve were still smoking a pack a day at that point, and I don't know what cigarettes cost back then, but I'm going to guess a day or two's worth of cigarettes would have been enough to buy me some goddamn socks. And it's great to be, financially responsible and all that, but you still have to be a parent. She did the laundry. It's not like she didn't know what was in the laundry. Who finds socks with holes and still pairs them up and puts them back on their kid? I'll tell you who. People who have literally $0. Not people who have secret money in other countries. Not people who are paying down their mortgage at double the speed. My crazy mom.